What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We are back with some more draft lottery rebuilds, as actually this is our last one. We are at pick 14 with the New Orleans Pelicans. And as I've said in the past, the later we get in the lottery, the harder it is to tell on where these prospects are going to go. But today I decided we're going to do a Nick Smith Jr. New Orleans Pelicans rebuild. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you are new to the channel. As always, greatly appreciated. YouTube tells me that 63% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed, and we're literally like 30 subs as I'm recording this away from 35k. So if you want to hit that subscribe button, change that fact that you're in the 63%, it'd be greatly appreciated. Regardless, the Pelicans at pick 14, who knows they're going to take, who knows who they're going to take. But I went with Nick Smith Jr. as a guard that the Pelicans could take, either as some depth or maybe he blossoms into a starter one day. Who knows? There is definitely some upside with Nick Smith. If I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong, so don't quote me on this. I think in college he was struggling with an injury, which is why he wasn't as good as he was supposed to be, or something like that. I could be totally wrong. Don't quote me on it. Regardless, Nick Smith Jr. is our guy here in New Orleans. Player options, let's get straight into this offseason. So Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Alvarado, Marshall, Kyra Lewis. We're going to accept literally every single one of these except for Garrett Temple, who's 37 years old. So we're not going to bring him back. But qualifying offers, Sebron and Jackson Hayes are only two restricted free agents that we got to worry about. And I definitely wouldn't mind bringing back Jackson Hayes as some depth if we want to. And he's only going to ask for like 11 million, so that's not too bad. But let's look at the roster. Current state of the roster for the Pelicans, of course, CJ McCollum, Alvarado. We just drafted Nick Smith Jr. You have Herb Jones, Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels turns into a stud, so he's going to be a huge part of what we do today as well. Brandon Ingram. You got Zion, who can just never stay healthy. That's been the biggest issue with New Orleans, is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Zion's health. He just can't stay on the court very long. It seems like they haven't had him healthy for a long period of time at all, which really is unfortunate. But Joe Val is a center, which I plan on upgrading that eventually. I don't know if I'll keep him this off. I'll probably roll with him at least for next season, but then next off season, I want to see if we can maybe replace him with something different. Larry Nance and then Willie. So I literally think the only thing we're going to do this offseason is resign Jackson Hayes. I think that's literally about the only thing we're going to do. I don't want to make a big move just yet. I might do it at the deadline, but what I want to do for at least year number one is feel it out, because I know this team is going to be really good. Don't get me wrong. CJ McCollum, though, I want to be able to use his salary in a big trade eventually down the line. And I also want him to mentor Nick Smith in year one, which I think is going to be huge if we use that to our advantage, which is why I think I'm not going to do too much this first offseason, because CJ McCollum is the contract I would use to make a big move. So I'm going to resign Jackson Hayes to a 3-year deal, which is going to make Larry Nance more expendable as well. So that's definitely something we could consider down the line. Is there anyone else I want to sign, or am I good? I think I'm solid. So the only thing I'm going to do now is I think, well, let's see. We got what? CJ McCollum, Alvarado, Nick Smith, and Kyra Lewis. So a lot of depth at the point guard spot. Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones. That's fine with me. Brandon Ingram, and then we have Marshall, Trey Murphy. So I guess literally the only thing I'm going to do is move Trey Murphy to the 3, and I think that's all I'm going to do this offseason. So obviously this first offseason, nothing too exciting. There's a chance I stop at the trade deadline, but I might just feel it out year one. Year one, we might just let it ride, see how it goes. And in year two, in the offseason, I have a certain target in mind. I have a certain guy that I think would fit perfectly here in New Orleans. I won't show you who it is just yet, and I won't hint at it just yet either. But trust me when I tell you, I have a game plan, okay? Just trust me. Power Ranking lands us at number 10. You got CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Ingram, Zion, Joe Val, Trey Murphy, Larry Nance, Willie, Dyson Daniels, and Jose Alvarado. So we are running a 10-man rotation. Unfortunately, though, I want to get Nick Smith Jr. minutes like immediately. I want him to play over Willie 100%. Like, I don't need to have Willie Hernangomez in there if we're going to play Larry Nance. So going to do something like that, which means Alvarado, Hayes, and Willie are all not getting minutes, or Marshall. So there's just a lot of depth here, as you can see. So that's what we're going to roll with for year one. Nick Smith Jr. is going to get minutes right away. Dyson Daniels is as well. And then, of course, like I said earlier, I want to use those mentorships with CJ, Nick Smith Jr., and probably Dyson Daniels as well. So that was the other junior. Nick Smith Jr., where are you at? There you are. Nick Smith Jr., I want you mentored by CJ McCollum. Let's go Agent 3. Let's go catch and shoot, because that's going to be huge. And then especially off of Zion, of course. And then clutch shooter. Something like that. I think that's going to work perfectly. And then do I need Dyson Daniels to be mentored? Probably not, but I'm going to do it anyway. So let's have him mentored by CJ as well, because you can do 2 people, which is something I learned from the comment section. So thank you guys for that. And then let's go clutch shooter. So kind of the similar things we did with Nick Smith. But I'm going to simulate this season. If I stop at the deadline, I will show you guys. I don't plan on it. I think I'm just going to write it out this year and see what happens. And then in the off season is when I have a big move plan. So I will show you that once we get in the off season. We're going to be bringing in a new player who I think is going to fit perfectly here. So Let's just simulate this season. Let's see how we do. Obviously, New Orleans is usually pretty good in the simulation. I expect big things. And then one last look. I forgot to show this as well. The shot tendencies. Zion is great. CJ's is fine. Or yeah, that's fine. Something like that. Herb Jones. I'll boost that up just maybe a little bit. And then Trey Murphy, him as well. And then Dyson Dale's 78. And Nick Smith is a 90, which is actually kind of insane. But whatever, I'll leave it. So let's simulate this season. I've done enough talking for year one. Let's just see how we do. So season number 1 comes to an end, and I wanted to show these off because we have 3 different representatives here. So Zion makes an All-NBA 3rd team, which is awesome. And on the all-defensive team, we actually have Herb Jones making one. And then on the all-rookie 2nd team, we actually have Nick Smith Jr. making one, which is awesome. So I love to see all that. We're the 1st seed in the West. I don't think anyone should be too surprised by that. If we take a look at the stats, you had 27 from Zion, 19 from Ingram, 17 from CJ, 13 from Nick Smith Jr. So immediately he came in, was great right away because of his shot tendency being so high, of course. Drove out with 12 and 9, and then 11 from Trey Murphy, 10 from Herb Jones, 7 from Dyson Daniels, and 6 from Larry Nance. So I don't know if we win a championship year 1. I mean, there definitely is a possibility that we do, but we'll see how it goes. Here's our starting 5 going up against Dallas. Someone in current round against Dallas, and let's just see how we do. And we get bounced in round 1. So we get upset as the 1st seed in round 1. That's definitely very, very disappointing. Definitely don't love that, but let's go into some of these playoffs. And let's see how it goes. You got New Orleans and Minnesota just makes the NBA Finals as the Hawks go on to win the championship and beat the Timberwolves in 6. LeBron James, Chris Paul, they both retire, and Kyle Lowry retires as well. Draft lottery, I think we actually have the Lakers pick here, if I'm not mistaken, but they may have made the playoffs. So I wasn't really paying attention. So you got Suns number 1, which is actually crazy. And then do we have the Pelicans, or do we have the, yeah, we have 22, we have 26. We have 2 first-round picks in this draft, which may come in handy for the guy I'm kind of thinking of, but I might have had a wrench thrown in my plans. I'll tell you why in just a second, but I may not give up on it still, even after what just transpired. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead, get a guard girl real quick. I'll probably draft a couple guys, and I'll show you the guy I am targeting to be our brand new center next to Zion. So in the draft, we went ahead and selected KJ Evans, Elijah Fisher, and Kyle. It's not really going to matter too much because probably going to be using most of them in a trade here in a second. I'll show you what I'm thinking about in a second. Herb Jones, free agent. EJ Liddell, Kara Lewis, and Sebron are all free agents. But here's the guy I'm going to go target, and it's going to be a shooting big man. So like I said, I wanted to be able to replace Joe Val. Obviously, bringing AD back to New Orleans would be fun. We don't have the cap space for that, and we're not going to be able to do that. But CJ McCollum, I feel it could be a perfect fit in this situation as well as a veteran leader here, and that is with Minnesota. Karl-Anthony Towns next to Cat. Or that made no sense. Zion next to Karl-Anthony Towns. That's the best shooting big man that I think we could get, and honestly, I love it. Now, Minnesota did just technically make the NBA Finals, so I don't know why they would do this, but I'm still going to try to do it. So we're going to go straight to Minnesota. His contract is kind of abysmal, not going to lie, but if we could have him play next to Zion Williamson, I think that'd be amazing. Defensively, it's not going to be the greatest fit, but offense alone, it's going to be great. So CJ McCollum, Karl-Anthony Towns is not going to get it done. We're going to have to include Larry Nance's contract as well, and I'm going to have to include some of these young guys in here. So KJ Evans, we just drafted, and then Elijah Fisher's got 1-star trade value. And let's go maybe Kyle, who has 1.5. Not enough. Okay. Nick Smith, I'm not including. Dyson Daniels, I'm not including. Alvarado, I would be fine with including. And then let's say this pick. And then is this Bucks pick valuable? It's got 2-star trade value. So let's say it's something like this for Zion Williamson. Or not Zion. Why do I keep mixing their names around? Anyway, Karl-Anthony Towns, CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, KJ Evans, Alvarado, and 2 first-round picks for Karl-Anthony Towns. What do they say? We got our brand new center in New Orleans. Karl-Anthony Towns next to Zion Williamson is just such a great fit. I love it. So Karl-Anthony Towns, our brand new center here in New Orleans. Nick Smith is going to be the new starting point guard for New Orleans. We're definitely giving him the job very, very early on, but I think it's going to be fine. And Dyson Daniels, of course, is going to progress as well. You're going to have Ingram, Trey Murphy. You're going to have, then we're going to bring Herb Jones back as well, not to mention. So Dyson Daniels might actually move to point guard, and then Nick Smith can be like the flamethrower off the bench. Maybe do something like that. So Daniels is going to go down, but once we bring Herb Jones back, Nick Smith will be like the 6th man of the squad. And then Trey Murphy, Ingram, Zion, Kyle, and then Karl-Anthony Towns and Jackson Hayes, which is why we resigned Jackson Hayes. So Marshall, I'll probably bring back as well because we're going to need a backup 4 over our backing up Zion. So let's do that. So Marshall, let's just afford everybody we're going to bring back. So Marshall, I'm bringing back 4-year deal. That's great. And then Herb Jones, of course, is going to be the biggest free agent we got to worry about. And right now, it's not giving me the ability to just re-sign him outright, which is kind of unfortunate. Would it even let me offer him a contract right now, or is he gonna have to come back with his qualifying offer? Because that might have to be what it takes. And yeah, it's not gonna let me offer him a contract. So I'm gonna sit here and wait until Herb Jones is back on his qualifying offer, I guess, or if it allows me to match, which I hope it does, because I obviously don't want to lose Herb Jones. But man, oh man, is this team about to be a squad next year. So Herb Jones, hopefully he's back. Lydell, Sebron, Kyra Lewis, boom. Okay, we got our guy back. Herb Jones is back. Player progression, we got Dyson Daniels already up to an 81. As we know, he just develops like crazy. It's actually insane. Herb Jones, 83, Ingram, Cat, and then Zion. This starting five is about to just fit so well together, and Nick Smith is about to be the sixth man of this team. It's about to be a really good team. I mean, we just literally got the first seed last year. We did get upset in round one, unfortunately, by Dallas, but I feel good about this team going into next season. Cat next to Zion is to be the best fit that you could possibly have next to Zion. So let's load this draft class and let's look at this rotation and see where we're at as a team. Parking land is at number 7, and here's our 9-man rotation. So it's Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Ingram, Zion, Cat, Trey Murphy, Jackson Hayes, Nick Smith, and then Kyra Lewis. I think I'm going to throw Najee Marshall over Kyra Lewis just because obviously Nick Smith is a point guard. And then I'll have Jackson Hayes getting a little less minutes than Nick Smith because I do want Nick Smith to get plenty of minutes off the bench since he's pretty much the main focus of the video in a way. So balance, we're a 4-star proficiency with that. And then last thing I want to look at is shot tendency with Cat. So Cat's shot tendency is an 86. I'm pushed up to just a 90, something like that. And I think that's going to be just enough. So I'm going to simulate this year. Let's see how we do now that we have Cat and Zion as our front court here in New Orleans. At the end of the season, Dyson Daniels was most improved, representing the Pelicans, averaging 14 and 6 on the season for him. Do we get a Zion appearance once again on an All-NBA team? I don't think so. At least I don't think I see him. But an all defensive first team and all defensive second team. No Herb Jones, or no, Dyson Daniels makes it. So Herb Jones and Dyson Daniels defensively as a backcourt is looking really good, although Herb Jones isn't representing this year. Here's your all-rookie first team and all-rookie second team, and we are the 6th seed in the West. So honestly, going from the 1st seed to the 6th seed is definitely very disappointing, but 23 from Zion, 19 from Cat, 60 from Ingram, 16 from Nick Smith Jr., and then 14 from Dyson Daniels, 12 from Trey Murphy, and then 9.5 from Herb Jones. 35% from Cat, 38% from Ingram, 36% from Nick Smith, 36 and 42 and 36. So all around, the spacing around Zion was amazing, which is what I wanted to accomplish with the Cat edition. Unfortunately, we just got to 60 in the West. I'm hoping it doesn't matter. Like, the seeding is not going to matter, that we're just going to be so good in the playoffs that no one's going to want to mess with us. So we'll just see how that goes. I'm going to go to an 8-man rotation, and we're just going to see what the result of an 8-man rotation here in New Orleans would look like. So going against Denver in round 1, just because they got OG Anunoby, which is a great addition for them, by the way. I actually love that addition for them. Did he sign for like a minimum? Because I don't know how they pulled that off. Let's see. He is on a minimum. So OG goes from making 18 million to a minimum at 27 years old. 2K, you make a ton of sense. Regardless, game 1, we're down 1-0. We lose by 11. Not a great start. Obviously, Jokic is amazing. I think Jokic would have his way with Cat for the most part. Game 2, down 2-0. Damn, did we get this far just to lose like that? No, we're gonna lose in 5. Wow. Okay, so the Cat edition maybe wasn't the best move in the world, or maybe that was just a fluky simulation. But 2 years in a row, we've only got into the first round, which is not a great sign. Houston wins the championship over Cleveland. Retirements aren't gonna matter for us too much here as we're a young roster. In the lottery, I don't know if we're gonna have a crazy pick here, and I don't think we do. I mean, we traded a lot of it for Cat. Yeah, that Milwaukee pick that we traded turned to number 3. So I would say that was a pretty good return for the Timberwolves, which is good for them because maybe I finessed myself by getting Cat, because that first simulation with Cat did not go as planned. But let's get a different head coach. Let's try it again. Bickerstaff, Tyronn Lue, Mike Malone, any of these guys would be amazing. So I'm going to go for the best head coach we can get, because we're going to need a good head coach. Willie Green, you've been eliminated in round 1. What is it, 3 years now? I think it's time to move on. It's not saying it's necessarily your fault, but we're going to try to get Mike Malone or Tyronn Lue. That's going to be my number 1 targets, but if not, there's some other options here as well. So is there anybody else I can make an offer on just in case I don't get either of them? Doc Rivers is kind of disgusting. Mike Budenholzer would definitely be interesting. Let's go for Mike Budenholzer as well. Do I get one of them? I do get Tyronn Lue, which is great. So Lue is our new head coach in New Orleans, which is amazing because we definitely need it. So then we got Bender. We'll grab him as our assistant, and then we can fill the rest of this out, and then we should be ready for what comes next. In the draft, we got AJ Johnson with pick number 18, and player option got Dyson Daniels and Nick Smith, which is our backcourt right now, which we're accepting. Kyra Lewis, Trey Murphy, Lydell, and Herb Jones are all free agents, so this team is about to get expensive super quickly. So Tatum is a free agent. Obviously, we don't have the money for that, but Ingram is a free agent as well, which he doesn't fit the system apparently. I kind of wonder if we moved on from Ingram, if that would be interesting if we did that. I don't want to, just because like Ingram is amazing, but I just almost feel as if we got like a better 3 and D3, if that would be what we need to do, or we could like start Trey Murphy and Herb Jones together. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it, and it just sounds insane to think about. But I'm just gonna bring back Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and call it a day. So Ingram, I'm also bringing back, of course. So Brandon Ingram, we're gonna sign. Even if I don't decide to keep him, I guess we could trade him if we wanted to. I'm gonna resign Trey Murphy, and I'm gonna resign Herb Jones as well. So we got all those guys back. So Trey Murphy, Herb Jones are all back. And then if we take a look at everything else we can do, we could bring like Josh Hart back to New Orleans, which could be fun. But Nick Smith Jr., Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Ingram, Trey Murphy, Zion, Najee Marshall, Cat, and Jackson Hayes. I will tell you, if we're struggling in the simulation next year, there is a chance that I might trade Ingram for like a guy that isn't going to have to score as much, who can just be like a 3 and D role player, I guess. I don't know, for like maybe for a better shooting guard. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud that we might be able to do that if things aren't going the way we expect them to. I understand that maybe I created this problem with the Cat edition, but I just wanted to do it. So everyone is developing here, pretty much everyone. So I'm hoping that last year was maybe just kind of a fluky simulation, and this year it's not going to matter what the fit is, that we're just going to be that good. It's not even going to matter. We'll see if that does transpire, but like I said, if we're struggling still, I might consider trading away Brandon Ingram, which sounds crazy in theory, but if we can get like a role player that's just not going to do as much and we can get like a good return for Ingram, I'm definitely going to consider it. But starting 5 is going to stay the same. Bench got a little bit better. Duarte is someone we brought in, but I'm not going to play him. Daniels, Herb Jones, Ingram, Zion, Cat, Nick Smith, Trey Murphy, Kyra Lewis, and Jackson Hayes is your rotation. And proficiency is a 4.5 balance. So we're going to run with the balance system. I'll see you guys either in the playoffs or at the deadline, because we're going to have to make a big move if things aren't going well. So here's top of the trade deadline at 26 and 29. Something on this roster is just not working. We threw together a bunch of talent, a bunch of developing players, and 2K is not a fan of what we have going on right now. And I have a feeling it's because we have too much scoring going on. I don't know what the biggest issue is, but maybe there's just too many shot tendencies to go around. So I'm kind of wondering if it's time to trade Brandon Ingram away, because I'm not going to trade away Cat. Since I just got him, I'm not going to trade away Zion. But I feel like Cat was not the guy to bring in. That was probably my mistake. Probably wasn't the best addition. I just thought he'd be the perfect center next to Zion. But unfortunately, I'm going to be trading away Brandon Ingram. Now, as far as what I'm going to get for Ingram, this is the trade that I'm going to land on, just because it's going to bring in a perimeter defense and it's going to help things out a lot. So obviously this one is great where we get OG and James Harden, but I don't want James Harden. I'm only on this one the most. You get really good, or you get 2 really good perimeter defenders in Mikal and Dorian Finney-Smith. Mikal is one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. That just seems like a no-brainer to me. So I'm going to do this one. And Mikal Bridges is only averaging 9 points in Brooklyn. So I'm going to see if that fixes the problem. I just want to see if it does. If we moved Ingram, or not Ingram, Mikal to the 3, and he starts at the small forward, I understand Mikal Bridges is someone that I get a lot, but he just solved so many issues, and he's on such a good contract. And we got Dorian Finney-Smith on top of that, who could come in for spot minutes if we need him to, and he's just going to be like a good perimeter 3 and D role player that you'd want. So I want to see if that would fix things. Let's just see if it did. If we traded away Ingram, let's see if the record just starts to turn around. Let's see. We've already won 3 in a row, right? 4, nope, not 4 in a row. Okay, we got extension deadline, which it never works anyway, for me at least. But yeah, as you can tell, once we trade away Brandon Ingram, things are just going so much more smoothly. So we did lose that one, but I feel like that was the issue, that just so many guys that needed shots, and it just wasn't enough shots to go around. So I'll see you guys in the playoffs after that addition with Mikal Bridges and see if we're a championship contender. Ironically enough, in round 1, we draw the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have CJ McCollum, Edwards, KJ Evans, who's already up to a 79 overall. So he turned into a stud there, which is insane. I'll have to keep that in mind for the next time I draft KJ Evans. Jared Vanderbilt, Barris is their new center, Miles Turner, Gobert. So they definitely got some interesting things going on in Minnesota. Obviously, we got Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Mikal, Zion, Karl Towns, Nick Smith, Trey Murphy, Kyra Lewis, and Jackson Hayes. I mean, this is an insane squad, but let's see how it goes. Game 1, we beat them by 4. CJ had 33 on his former team, but it didn't matter. Game 2, they evened it up. Game 3, 2-1. Game 4, they even it up. Game 5, we're up 3-2. Do we beat them in 6? Yes, we do. We're in the second round. First time in the video, we got out of the second round, which is amazing. And 34 from Zion, 29 from Cat, 23 from Nick Smith to close it out. And now we get to play Oklahoma City Thunder. We have Shea, Josh Giddey, Justin Edwards, Jalen Williams, Chet, Kevon Looney, Bryce Sensabaugh, I think is who that is, if I'm not mistaken, but they got to misspell his name because 2K is stupid. Regardless, though, let's you can beat the Thunder. Game 1, up 1-0, 146-119. Great start. 44, 14, and 9 from Zion. Game 2, 2-0. Game 3, they win game 3. We won game 4. Can we beat them in 5? Yes, we do. So I really hated that we had to trade Ingram away, but it was just my fault for bringing in Cat. Honestly, that was kind of probably something I shouldn't have done. But the Blazers embraced that guard rotation with Scoot, Simon, Shaedon Sharpe, Damian Lillard. Imagine those four stayed, and they drafted Trey Johnson as well. Imagine having that many good guard prospects on your roster. That would just be way too many. That's actually insane to think about. But let's see how it goes. Game 1, we're up 1-0, 120-99. I mean, Portland just got too many guards. The fact that they made it this far is definitely impressive. But yeah, it's time to put you to bed. I'm sorry. 4-0, and we beat them in. Wow, Cleveland just came back from 3-1, I think. So they did it again. But now we get Cleveland, who have Garland, Mitchell, Zara Williams, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Kobe White. This is the part where we lose to Cleveland, isn't it? Because Cleveland always is one of those teams that I can just never beat, it feels like. So game 1, down 1-0. Game 2, even it up. Game 3, 2-1. Yep, there it goes. 3-1. And Cleveland is just... they're just them. It's literally, that's what it boils down to. Cleveland is just so good. It's not even funny. I'm basically going to be running back with the same roster. Usually Cleveland loses Donovan Mitchell like every time this offseason. So that should be... and we got the #1 overall pick, by the way, to add to this team, which is literally insane. So yeah, that's definitely fun. Regardless, though, I think I'm just going to add whoever with the #1 overall pick. So we should be even better next year with whoever this may be. And yeah, it's about to be insane with how good we're about to be. So maybe we don't even have to resign Mikal Bridges if we don't want to. And I just like don't bring him back, which would be kind of interesting if I didn't. Because we have the #1 overall pick. Who are we getting in this one? Isn't Cameron Boozer the best player? Yep, taking him. And Cameron Boozer could maybe start right away. I don't know. He's an 83 overall. Maybe we don't have to worry about bringing in Mikal Bridges. Player options, Nick Smith. We'll accept all of those. Qualifying offers, Lydell, and then Dyson Daniels are free agents. And then free agency time. Let's see. We got Kevin Durant, Mikal Bridges, Dyson Daniels, Jackson Hayes, Dorian Finney-Smith. So if I took a look at the roster, Nick Smith, AJ Johnson. Of course, we're bringing back Dyson Daniels. And then Trey Murphy, Elijah Fisher. And then I guess Cameron Boozer could be our backup 4, and I bring Mikal Bridges back. I think that'd be the best thing to do. So let's resign pretty much everyone here, and then I will see you guys at the end of next season. So hopefully this is our final season as we went 63-19 to end off the year. Things just went super well as you had Dyson Daniels and Herb Jones making an all defensive team. So just the perimeter defense alone on this team is kind of nasty. 23 from Zion, 21 from Cat, 18 from Dyson Daniels, 18 from Nick Smith, 14 from Cameron Boozer, and then 10 from Herb Jones, 9 from Murphy, and then 8 from Mikal Bridges, and then 5 from Jackson Hayes. So here we go. We're playing the Utah Jazz in round 1. I mean, I'm hoping we just get right back to the NBA Finals here. So we are going to lose one to the Jazz. And then Cleveland, did they lose Donovan Mitchell? They did not. So that is definitely intimidating. Hopefully we don't have to beat or play them. But I mean, I'm thinking too far ahead at this point because we're playing the Timberwolves again. We have KJ Evans up to an 82. They also got Tari Eason. They have Lauri Markkanen, and they don't have Gobert anymore, I don't think. So they finally got off of Gobert's contract. Somebody current round against Minnesota, and we just beat them, absolutely obliterated them. And Charlie beat Cleveland, so that could definitely play a good sign for us. But Houston in the conference finals, they got Matt, Jalen Green. They do win game 1. We even it up. Game 3, 2-1. Game 4, 3-1. Do we beat them in 5? Yes, we do. I mean, I just feel like we put together such an insane roster. It's not even funny because, like, defensively, Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Mikal Bridges, like, that is the perfect amount of defense you'd want on a team next to a guy like Cat. So we get to play Detroit, though. They have Jet Howard, who literally has not moved in overall whatsoever. He's still like an 80 overall, but he's averaging 17 in the playoffs. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Miles Bridges, and Wendell Carter. Game 1, 1-0 start. Game 2, they even it up. Game 3, 2-1. Game 4, 3-1. And we beat them in 5, and we got New Orleans a championship. So it wasn't pretty. The road was rough. But at the end of the day, we got to the same destination we were all looking for. Zion is your Finals MVP, and this was the final roster that we threw together here in New Orleans. It was pretty insane how we got to this point. I think the Cat trade, I will admit, was a mistake, but we were able to make up for it, so it's all good at the end of the day. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. I'll see you on the next one. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.